December 6th. After your warm up, we're gonna do an activation of 1 minute low crawl and then 1 minute and 1 minute single leg play. So in your activation, low crawl, my knees are low for that low crawl, that's what that means. And then I'm moving my right hand and then my left foot, left hand, right foot, and just alternating. And so you might walk forwards, you can walk backwards, but it's probably gonna be at that pace, sort of like this. Because it's for time and not for distance, I strongly urge you to play with moving faster and slower, taking longer and shorter steps. The whole idea is that you're playing with it and you're trying to activate things, so you want to feel this in the core. You're probably also gonna feel it in the quads. They're working in this position. If you feel it in the knee, it's because your quads are tight, so you can continue with it without fear of like hurting anything, and just understand that that's why your quads are tight, or that's why your knees are hurting. The single leg play for a minute, you're gonna be standing on one leg. Maybe this is what you're playing with. Maybe this is what you're playing with. Maybe this is what you're playing with. So it kind of depends how good your balance is. Your standing leg can bend and that will help the balance. The top leg can kind of do whatever it wants. You can move just the leg, or you can move your body in sort of usually the opposite direction as your leg. I also urge you to play with, sometimes front and back is kind of obvious, but that lateral lean, that's usually what happens when someone slips on ice as they fall backwards and a little bit to the side. So you're gonna play with your balance on the left and the right leg. So that's your activation. It should take you 3 minutes. Then you're gonna go into the SmartWOD timer, what you do need for this WOD. It's a free download SmartWOD timer. It has really easy 4 selections. You're gonna select Tabata, and you could obviously do one of the other ones and put the same numbers in, but I did Tabata because we're gonna do a 10-second rest today in between all of our intervals. With that 10 seconds, it's automatic. You should think, I should be pushing in these positions because I've got that rest, and the rest actually allows your heart rate to come up. Your heart rate won't go down, it'll actually go back up. And then when you start pushing again at the next movement, your heart rate goes up even further. So it's a nice way to really get your heart rate up and challenge like your VO2 max without running for hours and hours. Okay, so we have 10 moves. You're gonna select on the Tabata 8 rounds. Maybe you have 8 moves, sorry. You only have 8 things. So 8 rounds, we're gonna do 45 seconds each for the first round. And then you'll reset your timer for 30 seconds. You'll do each of the 8 things for 30 seconds. You reset your timer, then you're gonna do all 8 again at 20 seconds, and then you're done. So you'll end up going through this 3 times, but we're selecting 8 rounds on the timer because there's 8 moves. Okay, so for 45 seconds, we're gonna do skaters, and that's just going from side to side. So I'm laterally jumping from side to side. I'll kind of show you from different angles. So it looks like this. Some people put their foot down for balance, and that's okay. What I don't want you to do is put your foot down and put weight on it. I'd like you to stay on that standing leg. When I jump over, my hips go back a little bit, sort of like I'm a speed skater. And then as you get better at it, it's either gonna go faster or maybe you're gonna go for more distance from side to side, all right? All right, so those are your skaters. You'll do that for 45 seconds on that first one, then you'll rest for 10 seconds and you go to burpees. I think everybody knows a burpee. Definitely adding in a jump here. So jumping, coming down to the knees, full push up, jumping back up, and then jumping up, right? So you have 45 seconds to do burpees. Then you're gonna do high knees. With the high knee, if you can't get your knees up really high, I'd rather you concentrate on turnover. So moving fast rather than trying to get your legs up really high. So you do wanna go as high as you can, but that might be here, it might be up here, it might be up here. But what I don't want you to do is do this and go really slow, just trying to get your knees up. So with the high knees, you want a quick turnover and going as high as you can. That's gonna put less wear and tear on the joints. Okay, then forearm plank slaps. So I'm gonna begin forearm plank. I'm gonna take my knees a little wider and I'm gonna slap the side of my hip from left to right. When you're doing this, you're trying to keep your hips steady and keep them from tilting from side to side. So you're just gonna go as slow or as fast as you want with that one because it's for time, okay? Then you're gonna do a side shuffle touchdown. So side shuffling, I'm gonna be on my toes, shuffling to the side, touching down. Because I'm not with you and you're doing it on your own, you can side shuffle twice, once, twice again. I'll do 3 times here. So there's 3, 1, 2, 3. It's up to you how many you do, right? If you only have a small space, it might just be a little side shuffle, touch, side shuffle, touch. You do want to alternate your hands, so it's up to you. I've tried it both ways. You might side shuffle to the right and then touch with your left, or you might side shuffle to the left and touch with your left. Just make sure that you're only touching with one hand and you're just alternating it some way, okay? So those are your side shuffle touchdowns. Again, staying on your toes so that you don't roll your ankle. Avoid doing this and sort of side shuffling like you're fencing. Keep yourself sideways and up on your toes. All right, plank, tiptoe in and out. So in a high plank this time, you could do this in a low plank if you needed to. I'm just gonna tiptoe in and tiptoe back out. When you're tiptoeing out, you don't technically have to go all the way back. You could keep it short. You can go to the left, you can go to the right. And if you notice here, I'm not really going all the way out. All the good stuff is gonna happen when you're in close. So again, play with how far back, how far in, going to the left and to the right. Obviously when you get to like the 20 seconds of work, you won't have as much time to play with it, but that's for you. Then you've got jumping jack, alternating touchdowns. I love these. So I'm gonna touch the ground with one hand and then the other. So it's a little bit of a squat. I don't wanna do this in forward fold, right? I do wanna end up squatting a little bit lower each time, but it's really fun. I feel like a little popcorn jumping up and down. Then the last one, you have tuck ups. So I'll give you 2 options for the tuck up. Traditional CrossFit, you're laying down and you're bringing your knees in, touching your feet. I'm just showing you some different variations. So really bent, straight, straighter. Obviously, it's totally up to you. They're not gonna be perfectly straight like a V-up. They're gonna be more tucked, and I wanna make contact with my belly and my quad. So that's the one option, like all the way down and then coming in. The second option is staying like this and going in and out. Hands maybe behind you, maybe in front of you. Again, making contact and coming in really close. So with this one, I don't really have to, if you look at my upper body, it doesn't have to go too far. It's gonna move, because of balance, but you might like that better. It's still just as hard on the core, maybe in a different way, but I don't think it's easier. It's just different. Some people really have a hard time getting up from the floor, and it's not just strength. Sometimes like your legs are longer or your torso is longer, and it does change things. So try both and see what you like. As always, you should always practice about 10 moves at a light to moderate pace. Like if you've never done a skater, you're gonna probably start with, kind of doing this, and then maybe try the jump, and it's really soft so that you can at least get the coordination before you start to execute it, and especially before you start to like really go at it. So go through all of these, practice them, make sure they make sense, and then you can actually start the timer. So just to go through that again, with the timer, you have 8 pieces to go through, and you're gonna go through them 3 times. The first round, you're working for 45 seconds and resting for 10. So you'll do skaters for 45, you'll rest, you'll do burpees for 45 and rest. High knees, rest for 10 seconds, forearm plank slaps, rest for 10 seconds, and all the way down. Once you're done with those tuck-ups, you've got that 10 seconds of rest there, but stop the timer, reset it for 30 seconds, and then whenever you're ready, grab a sip of water, and then start again. Try to keep that ending rest time as short as you can. I would say no more than a minute. And then again, you'll go through at 30 seconds, and then last one's 20 seconds, which is actually a traditional Tabata, which is 20 seconds on, 10 seconds off. That is your workout for December 6th. Good luck.